Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and with me today, as always, is my co-host David.
What's up, guys?
Today we've got another normal episode for you guys. As normal as these episodes get, anyway. We're gonna talk about some tech stuff. We're gonna talk about the new Hawkeye series that just dropped. Well, the first two episodes, anyway. And we're gonna watch some trailers. So yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? This first article has kind of been a contention point for David and I on our phones, especially David. Apparently, the Fairphone has beaten out everybody in the Android ecosystem with 6 years of support, and Google just announced that they're doing 5 years of support on their new Pixel 6 lines. So even that, they're still beating it. They've just updated their Fairphone 2, which launched on Android 5 to, they announced that they're shipping Android 10 to it. 5 generations of Android updates. It says 6 years, but 5 generations of Android updates to one phone. I don't know. That's pretty impressive, especially from a third-party vendor like that.
Yeah. But that's kind of their thing. They're supposed to be, and I'd kind of be disappointed if they didn't do this. They're supposed to be like the leading repairability people in the industry. Like, they want it to be repairable. They want you to be able to service it. They don't want these things turning into e-waste. So how do you prevent a phone that's perfectly upgradable in every single way as far as hardware from becoming e-waste? You keep it up to date on the software, because I don't care if I can repair it 6,000 ways to Mars. If it's running an outdated OS that isn't secure anymore, then you kind of need to get rid of it at some point. It just becomes too much of a security risk, especially these days where, through our own fault, we've done this to ourselves, but our lives, a lot of people's lives anyways, myself included, would be dramatically harder if I didn't have my phone with me. So yeah. And some people have made it even worse. Like, if I lock my phone in my car, I can still get into my house. If I lose my phone out in the wild, I can still get into my house. There's some people where their entire security system for everything, how to get into the car, how to get into the house, is controlled by the phone. And it's like, oh boy, you've really married yourself to that. So you needed to stay up to date. So I'm glad that they're doing that. I think it's wonderful. The only reason why I didn't really personally consider it is I'm not a big fan of the design. But other than that would have been like a perfect solution to my woes. Because I got tired of BS. Let's launch it on this. We'll give you one more update. And, oh, by the way, it's a 2-year-old phone. Guess what? You're not getting any more software updates. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Great. This phone that I just bought is already outdated.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Perfect. Got tired of it, so I went with the Pixel.
That is the one thing that iPhone has always had over Android. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. As much as we give them crap, this is one thing where they have led everybody else. Mm-hmm. Can't fault them for it.
By a lot.
By a long shot.
And I mean, part of the whole Android thing was Qualcomm's fault, because they refused to support Android updates past like 2 or 3 year old chips. But I mean, Samsung has been going on their own chips for how long now?
And even they
for a little bit, and they're still only running 3.
Mm-hmm.
Google, I think, is the first, obviously besides Fairphone now, they're the first real big Android partner, quote unquote, mm-hmm. to do more than 2 or 3 years of updates. And it's only because they finally started running their own chips. So
that's what it takes. I mean,
yep.
You can fault Qualcomm all day long for that mess. You really don't have an incentive to not do it.
Yeah, exactly.
How do they make money? By selling more chips. They can't do that if everybody holds on to their phone an extra 2 years because they got a software update that basically says, oh, why do I need to get rid of it? As long as it doesn't physically break, why get rid of it? If it's physically up to date, you get all the features everybody else. That eliminates any features discrepancy. If it's running, it's running. Perfect.
That's right.
The only reason why I had to upgrade is because it stopped working correctly. Not physically, but something in the software. I don't know what it is. Maybe if I did a factory data reset, maybe that would fix my woes, but I feel like there's something hardware related, especially GPS failure. Really do think it's hardware. So I just upgraded.
Can't blame you on that at all. All right, shall we move on to your your favorite topic here? Your first topic?
Oh, okay. So we touched on it a little bit. I didn't delve into it because honestly, you bringing it up was the first time I heard about it. Period. I didn't even know they were coming out with a remaster. So we talked about it the last episode. The GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas Definitive Editions, the GTA trilogy. Well, that was a giant, colossal screw up. And Rockstar admits that the remasters did not meet our own standards of quality. I can't tell you how much fun I've had looking up the failures of this trilogy, from broken missions to just plain out not rendered bridges and grass just falling off cliffs. And
I think my favorite one is, I saw this probably the day or two after it came out on Reddit. This video in the article that we're looking at, where when he wiggles his car back and forth, it gets wider. Like, legit. It doesn't seem like much at first, and then he gets as wide as the 4-lane street that he's driving on. It is absolutely ridiculous.
How does this happen? Like, we talked about it, but then I started looking into it, and it's like, oh my god, this really is bad. So I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I ended up picking up the copy, and I have run into one major issue with Vice City so far. I didn't delve into 3 because I didn't play it as a kid. I will get into it eventually. I'm going to let them fix some obviously massive issues before I delve into that one. That way the game isn't tarnished by this god-awful remaster of a definitive edition, which is it's awful. It really is. They broke so much. The rain sucks. Some of the graphics sucks. Some of it looks great. But then other things is like, what the heck were you guys doing? But they've broken missions to where you can't continue in Vice City, which sucks. So I gotta wait for them to fix that, so I can 100% it, because I'm going to 100% this game. I've made it my mission. I don't think I can do it with San Andreas, and I never was going to try with 4 or 5. But Vice City, I feel like, is one of the ones that is something you can accomplish.
Yeah.
So I will do it. I've beat the story mission. It did let you go past the problem that I'm having, and I saw other people having the same issue, so it's definitely a bug that they've got to fix. But it's the Phil missions. Phil's place. You've got to break some boxes off of the back of 2 moving trucks, and the boxes contain ammunition and guns and other things like that. You can knock them off the truck, but then they end up floating in the middle of the air. If you hit it just right, they might fall to the ground. If you hit the truck the right way and the trajectory was the right way, they might actually be on the ground, but they have absolutely no hitboxes. So you just drive through them, and it's completely phased through, no problem. Can't shoot them, can't explode them, can't hit them with a car, nothing. They just don't break.
That's beautiful.
Did nobody playtest this? Somebody, clearly, they just did this, and nobody playtested the stuff.
Obviously.
Because that does not make it past anybody who playtest. That's a mission critical bug that you have created. You can't win. So they apologized. They also reversed their decision, or at least they're backtracking on the decision to delist the original versions of the GTA trilogy games. They took them off Steam and everything. So if you didn't already own them, you can't buy them. They are going to backtrack that. And they did say if you buy the trilogy definitive edition by June 30th of 2022, so they're giving you another 7-8 months to do it, that you will be able to get the classic versions of those games free as a download, even if you didn't already own them.
Oh, so too bad I already own them.
I had GTA San Andreas and Vice City, so yeah, I bought them again. But the only reason why I bought them again, it wasn't because of the trilogy being remastered. It was because there was core functionality that wasn't working, specifically with modern day controllers. And I can't play I guess I could. I can't do Grand Theft Auto on keyboard and mouse. I really can't. I'm too console based. Sad to say. And Ben hates me for it at times.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense, like with Ghost Recon. I can understand with GTA, but I do not understand why you play Ghost Recon with a controller.
It's just easier.
No, it's not.
It's easier.
I can get
everything.
There's not that many buttons to remember on the keyboard.
Everything's
really
just
not.
Easier. It's
oh my god.
It's easy to control. They're right there.
And yet somebody keeps falling off cliffs when he's trying to parachute. That's real easy, huh?
I think it's a key binding issue. I just don't know it. And I try to learn it from you, but you're using the stupid keyboard and mouse. It's like, oh crap. That's the one thing I haven't figured out how to do. Is parachute correctly in that game. I will say keyboard and mouse is superior in all things shooter, including aiming, even in GTA or Ghost Recon. I use the mouse. No reason I can't just use the mouse real quick. Best of both worlds.
As long as the game switches fast enough, with GTA 5 does a really good job at that. I will say that.
Ghost Recon is just like that too.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a lag or something and it didn't immediately support it, okay, fine. But it works just fine, so.
All right. Now we get to some good stuff about Google today. Then we'll get into some bad stuff later. So I got both for y'all.
Oops.
So Google Messages, and this won't really matter to anybody if you don't know anybody with an iPhone, but realistically, who doesn't know somebody with an iPhone at this point? Google Messages update translates iMessage responses for Android users. So basically what this is doing is, you know that the features that iPhone users have where they can like send messages with balloons, or they can send quick responses like thumbs up or a heart or a haha or whatever.
Yeah.
So instead of sending that as a block of text to an Android user now, where it says sent with balloons, thumbs up, question mark, haha, whatever, it will instead translate it into, I guess, Android's version of that emoji or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or I think messages now is like a send with balloons or a party thing. So it sends it with that instead of the egregious block of text that we've gotten up until this point, which I say is a good thing. Now, why Apple and Google can't just collaborate with a singular messaging standard, something that they both can agree on, that they both can submit to cellular companies, that literally every phone can understand. Why they can't do that is beyond me, but it's Apple and Google, so I guess that's the reason for it.
Yeah, they're never going to agree on anything. The one thing that they both agreed on is that we needed something, and I applaud Apple for doing it. We needed something better than just straight up SMS.
Yes.
The problem is now that they haven't agreed on a standard that everything can move forward to. So, yes, SMS still works. It is definitely inferior. Why Apple can't just make a iOS open source app for what are they calling it? Or just
support RCS at this point.
Or just, to me, that's the way to go. Because it's not Google that did it, necessarily. Yes, it's them, but they've opened it up to everybody else through the Android operating system.
Right, right.
The only thing that it's missing, that they finally fixed, that really Apple had superior, was the fact that they didn't have end-to-end encryption. Well, we're getting that now, so it works the same. It just doesn't work the same. So why don't you just make it work the same? Because they won't agree on anything, Ben. They just won't.
Nope. Mm-mm. It's never gonna. I think the day that we see Apple support RCS or them collaborate on some sort of messaging standard is the day that pigs fly or hell freezes over. You know, all those good sayings, right? It's never gonna happen. Is what I'm saying.
Just make iMessage open source or adopt RCS support into iOS.
See, I don't understand. As long as it supports
your end-to-end encryption standard. And now, if it's not going to, okay, I understand why they wouldn't want to, but then that argument is void and moot when they allow SMS to go through iMessage anyways. That's not encrypted anyway, so...
I don't understand why they wouldn't just implement RCS into their already existing framework. I mean, I'm not a programmer, and neither of us knows how bad that might be, how much of a headache it might be. But at the same time, it is open, and I'm sure it couldn't be that bad to implement it into your existing standard. And realistically, the only thing that you would have to do to make it work, if you didn't want to change your existing encryption technology, is just share it with Google. How hard is that? Or just make some sort of translator between the two if you don't want to do that.
They're obviously good at that. They've done very well with Rosetta and all of the x86 instructions that they needed to do for the new M1 Max and everything else that's going to come out with M1 chips and whatever the future of that's going to be. They did very well with that. So clearly they're capable of doing it. They just don't want to.
Yeah.
Obviously is the answer. And people will defend it however they want. So go for it.
All right, well, now we get to say something somewhat nice about Apple.
So we like to complain and brag and whatnot that they do stuff correctly. And then they turn around and they make it so dang difficult to defend another action that they've taken. It's like, okay, I don't like...
why are they still releasing their phones without USB-C?
Exactly. Stuff like that. They have been the staunchest opponent to right to repair in the entire industry. If there's a way to not do it, they found a way to not do it. They went out of their way to make it not repairable. Not because it's difficult to do stuff in small packages and this. They literally put things purposely into screens and batteries and everything else so that it will not work if somebody else tries to fix it. And it's...
This is not a genuine Apple battery. This isn't a genuine Apple screen. Guess what? You can't use Face ID anymore.
Why? Apple. Well, maybe there's some light at the end of this tunnel. They are soon going to start sending out parts and tools to users who want to repair their phones. Maybe this is a change in the right direction. We'll see how this is actually implemented, because they did some really bad things with the last program that they launched. with their third-party repair centers and authorized repair centers. They'd let them do it, but then they wouldn't let them do it in a way that was feasible. So then they ended up wasting a bunch of hardware anyways. It's like, okay, thank you, but you didn't really help anything. So they're going to start in the United States next year, with more regions gaining access through 2022. The program will exclusively support iPhone 12, 13, and M1 Max soon, anyways. It'll get branched out, but it's intended to allow customers who are comfortable with completing their own repairs access to the parts and support they need. And Apple believes it's going to help, but most people are going to still want to use their Apple authorized service providers, independent repairers, or the Apple Store. Okay, fine. I get that. Most people aren't probably going to want to do this. We're not saying that you have to be the one to do it. We're saying you should have the right to be able to do it. If you don't want to, don't. I've never tried to repair a phone.
You should have the right to not take it to Apple.
Exactly.
And have them charge you $400 for a screen replacement for a screen that costs $50 to get, and it takes maybe an hour and a half to repair. Probably even less if you're really good at it,
Finally. That's all I can say. Finally. We'll see.
It's a step in the right direction. Whether or not this is actually going to work out the way that everybody hopes it will remains to be seen. It's like we always say, you just gotta wait and see. But this is at least something. Anyway, so we talked some good about Google. We also talked a little bit of bad. We're gonna kind of do the same thing with this next article. So Google sent out an update for their Pixel 6 fingerprint reader, which both David and I have kind of been having issues with. Ever since I updated, or since I turned on that one setting, the increased touch sensitivity or whatever.
Yeah.
That has helped, but there's still been times where it happens like 3 or 4 times in a row where it just won't read my fingerprint for whatever reason. And there's no reason why, so I just end up having to use the code. They're sending out an update for that, and they've also confirmed that there is no 30-watt charging on any of the Pixels, despite their official charger being a 30-watt charger. So I'm kind of glad I didn't go out of my way to get that stupid brick when I've already got a fast charger here. Even though I think it's only like a 15-watt. It's whatever, it works.
Honestly, okay, the fingerprint sensor needed to be addressed. I still... Yeah. Yes, it is an issue. I agree with you. I'm so used to it that, yes, it's annoying when it doesn't work consistently 4 times in a row for no apparent reason whatsoever. The minute you put in your PIN and then go and use it again, it works. It's like, okay, what's that? So it's annoying. I give that to you, but I don't care. I've lived with it for so long. I got used to it on the Moto Z4 or X, whatever. Yeah. Okay, fine. I get it.
I just don't understand why they couldn't keep the back fingerprint reader. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to have an in-screen fingerprint reader, but like,
not if it doesn't work as effectively as a actual sensor on the back would have.
It wasn't 100%, but I would say it was damn near like 95%.
Oh yeah, no, it worked so much more. They always have. Even the earlier generation ones did a really good job, which is why I was so effing mad when Apple took it off in favor of Face ID. Why did you do that? I could literally take a phone out of my pocket, put my PIN on that fingerprint sensor, and it would be on lock by the time I got it out of my pocket. I don't even have to scan my face. You're telling me that's faster? I don't know why they did that. I really don't. So I'm glad Google at least kept a fingerprint sensor. Okay, yes, they put it in the screen. I was used to it. I'm sure a lot of people have had issues like you did who wasn't used to it. I agree with you. They could have done one in the back. You've got that. I like the camera bar, to be 100% honest.
Oh no, I like it. It's different, but
some people don't.
I like the way that it's shaped.
Yeah, but you have that there, so you couldn't put a fingerprint sensor below that. You've already taken up the room on the back for that camera bar. Right. It's going to be more recessed than that camera bar was ever going to be. They said they did that for the camera optics anyways. Like, there was no going back, and they decided to just go across the entire thing to... I like that they did that. It doesn't rock. It works.
It's not even like it would take away the double tap functionality on the back either. Because you could just double tap the fingerprint reader.
Yes, you could have done that.
Or near the fingerprint reader.
Or just below it.
Mm-hmm.
The fast charging. Is it really an issue, considering the battery life that you and I have been getting? Maybe later on down the road.
I would say no. But I just don't understand why they would, one, take out the block of the phone, or from the phone packaging. Like, what difference is that going to make, right? Two, why they would put out there that it's a 30-watt charger and then not support the 30 watts. I mean, it's kind of semantics at this point, right? Because, like I said, I don't ever have to... I think I've had to charge this thing before I went to bed once since I've had it. And every other day, it's been fine. Like, right now, what time did I wake up this morning? It's been 11 hours. And I'm on 35%, and I know I'm not gonna have to worry about it before I go to bed.
Yeah,
like there's nothing there, you know.
My phone's been off the charger since 7 this morning. It's now 9 local time. I'm at 67%. Granted, I didn't really get to use my phone much today because I was busy at work, and I'm sore from work. Like, my knees are feeling it today. I used it some. I used it on lunch. The dang thing, didn't notice it at all. I've never had to charge it before bed. It's gotten to about where you're at some nights. I think the lowest I've gotten was maybe 20-ish, but that was like a really long day. Yeah. I just choose not to. I don't have to. Maybe in the future, yes, but I don't know. The semantics, maybe... At this point, 30 watts would have been great if they didn't advertise it as a 30-watt charger and nobody would have known the difference. They probably just did that just so it's capable, so people can buy it. You can't say, oh, well, why would I want to get the Google charger when it's not as good as somebody else's charger? No, it doesn't work with their phones, but...
The thing is, they didn't even, Google never advertised the charging rate for... the Pixel 6
No,
either.
They didn't. So they gave a time frame.
Right,
and it is performing to that metric. So they didn't misadvertise anything. People just, and rightly so, they read in between the lines. It's a 30-watt charger. You would think it would be somewhere close to that, but it's 23 watts tops. Tops. And then after a while, it's going to fall off a cliff.
It's 23 watts for the Pro. I think it's 21 for the regular.
See, so that's a 30% reduction in speed. Okay, I could understand some people being upset, but they never said it was 30-watt charging on the phone.
Yeah, that's the only reason why they're skating by on anything, right? Because it wasn't like false advertising.
Nope.
Oh, you get this 30-watt charger, you're definitely going to be charging it at 30 watts.
Never once said that. Which is why I be mad if you want.
It would be a bigger deal if I had to charge the thing more than once a day.
And I really needed that 30.
I stick it on at the end of the night before I go to bed. It's charged when I wake up in the morning. And like I said, there's only been one day where I've had to plug it in before I went to bed, and it was on 10%. I can't even remember what I was doing that day. It must have been a heavy phone usage day for some reason. Maybe I was using the GPS a lot, but yeah, other than that.
It would be bad of us if we didn't at least give reasoning behind it. So I'm going to just go quote from Google on this one. We've optimized his Pixel's lithium-ion battery for higher charging rates when the battery level is low. Pixel 6 can get up to 50% in around 30 minutes with Google's 30-watt USB-C power charger, and quickly reaches up to 80% in about an hour. From what I've seen, that is true. Depending on the device usage and temperature, the peak power that the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro draw from the wired charger is 21 watts and 23 watts, respectively. As the battery gets closer to full, charging power is gradually reduced in order to improve battery longevity. Pixel may also pause charging above 80% under certain conditions. We talked about in the last episode. If you got your alarm set, it'll go up to 80%, and then it won't go any higher for the next 6 hours or however long it is until your alarm goes off. At some point, and they've got the calculations all in there, at some point it will continue the charge up to 100%. By the time your alarm goes off, is 100%. I forgot to set my alarm the other night, and I think it was on for about 40-ish or so minutes. It had gotten up to 90%, and it was probably down in the 30s or 40s when I put it on there. So, yeah, I got about 50% in like 30 or so minutes, and almost had a full battery within like an hour. So, yes, it is charging pretty dang quick. I cannot complain about that. I prefer what they've done. They pause it under certain conditions, and if you enable adaptive charging, Pixel can optimize charge rates for gradual overnight charging. Taken together, these approaches help you charge your Pixel quickly when the battery is low, but also minimizes degradation to preserve the lifespan of your battery. I prefer that methodology anyways, which is why I didn't turn off adaptive charging, even though I was a little concerned that it might be stupid at times. And one random morning, yes, I woke up too soon. It wasn't fully charged. I don't care. 98% was good enough for me. I want the dang thing to last. If I'm going to get 5 years of security updates, and hopefully that translates into at least Android 16. We're on 12 now. If we get to 16, 17 would be the better. But if we at least get to 16, I want the dang thing to be able to be used throughout the day and 4 years' time.
That's right.
So if you're going to reduce the charging speed, fine. I want the thing to last. And I think that was the thing that we said on an earlier podcast, too. I don't need more speed out of my phone. I don't need more performance. I need battery life. Dang it.
That's the thing that this thing has doled out, for at least for the both of us, the way that we use our phones. It's doled out in spades.
Yes. It works flawlessly.
I have had 0 issues when it comes to the battery life department. None whatsoever.
Zilch. And I'm happy. And if I can still get through the end of the day...
These Pixel Buds don't hurt either.
Oh, did you? Oh, you finally got yours. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I got them. I don't remember, like two days ago, maybe.
You liking them?
Yeah, I finally actually used them today because I didn't get a chance. After I set them up when I got them, I haven't had a chance to like actually use them. I like them so far. They sound really good. I haven't used them for anything except music, so I don't know if I'll share your same concerns. But I mean, it sounded good to me, so we'll see.
I don't know what it was. Something seemed off with voices in YouTube. I don't know if it was me that day, but it was a couple of different creators, and something in the voice sounded weird. They kind of sounded a little sick. But it was different creators, and I listened to it without the Pixel Buds, and they did not sound sick. So, I don't know. Something might be a little bit off for some of the ranges in the reproduction of sound. I haven't really noticed it in anything else. I haven't used it for calls yet. So I'm interested.
I did use it for not a long call, but a call today.
They seem to function pretty well.
Yeah, it worked pretty well.
For $99, I can't complain, and we got them for free, so I definitely can't complain.
Nope, cannot complain about free. No.
They work. They last a long time. I've had them in my ears for hours at a time. I've never once killed the Pixel Buds. They've gone down maybe 60, 50%. They're supposed to last 5 hours. I've had them in my ears hours at a time, off and on all day. You throw them back in the case. As soon as you don't need them, you throw them back in the case. They're almost fully charged by the time you have a chance to put them back in your ears again. The case, God knows how long the case lasts. I've yet to run any of it down. I haven't killed the case. I haven't killed the dang buds. And I've had them for weeks. Now, I charge it, obviously, but I have no idea what their limit is because I haven't found it, and I've tried. And they just keep going, so it's the whole thing, the whole battery experience has been great.
I'm sure I'll be testing it when it comes time for my plane ride at the end of December. We'll see.
I'm so excited. My last buds experience on the plane was awful. I couldn't hear anything. They just were not loud enough. It's like, do I really want anything else?
I'm hoping the silicon tips help with that a lot, because I don't think I've ever had anything with noise canceling. That's not true. My old Sony headphones had noise canceling on them that I used, I think, once or twice on the plane. That was nice. But every other time, I've always had to just bring regular headphones, and I've just cranked them up. So, we'll see. I don't know. I'm thinking the silicone tips are going to help close out some of the noise, but you know how loud planes are, so.
Yeah, I can say this. They do a really good job. I almost wish that, and it's just because of the A series, and they're free, so I'm not going to complain. I almost really wish that these had active pass-through, because you don't hear anything. You really don't. Yeah. It's very hard to have a conversation with those things in, even when they're off. And when they're on, forget it. You can't hear squat. And I've got really good hearing, and it's like impossible. They're good. I like them
once you find the right fit. I wasn't sure how I would feel with them in the air, because I saw that little like tail thing. Yeah. And I was like, what the heck is that about? But it fits really nicely in my ear.
Did you change the tips out?
No, I just use the regular ones. They seem to fit in my ears just fine.
I eventually switched down the size.
Yeah.
They fit fine, but after a while, they did get a little achy. Once I switched down a size, never had that issue again. But, everybody's ears are different. So, I mean, they give you the option. They got 3 different size tips in there, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I might switch it down the size. What do they have on here? The mediums or whatever?
They've got the mediums on by default. So there's a size down and a size up in the packaging.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll try it. I don't know. The only time I wore them was like 10 minutes today. So I couldn't really get a good reading on that.
My first 10, 15 minutes, I couldn't tell either. And after a while, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try a different set. It helped me, but everybody's different. Anywho.
All right, let's move on to our last article of the episode, shall we?
So, yet another reason to continue to stay on Windows 10. And I had no idea that they were going to do this until I got the 21H2 update. So, Windows 10 is going to get 1 per year feature updates. Now, what exactly they're going to do, it's hard to say. They may continue to add more features. It may be still segmented between Windows 10 and Windows 11. It's hard to say. But if they're not adding just exclusivity features to Windows 11, and they continue to add stuff to Windows 10, really don't see the reason to upgrade. I really don't. Not yet. There's still too much going on with that. Unless you're on Alder Lake.
I think it's gonna have to be like a year before I even think about updating to Windows 11, I think. And I mean, I'm not even technically officially supported, but I'll just download the ISO and do it that way. But right now, there's not any reason. I mean, Game Pass is still supported on Windows 10. Got DirectX 12 with all the features on Windows 10. Realistically, what reason is there for me to update right now? None. Literally zero. Not a zilch.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's nice to know that they're at least going to be supporting it with, feature updates, if nothing else,
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our discussion topic. we're going to talk about Hawkeye. Hawkeye episodes 1 and 2. Let's just get into it. I'm going to read the descriptions. If you've seen our reviews before, you know how this goes down. I'll read the descriptions. We're going to talk about the episodes. We'll give a rating, and then we'll talk about a little bit what we think the series is going to be like going forward. Anyway, episode 1, Never Meet Your Heroes. In 2012, during the Battle of New York, a young Kate Bishop witnesses Clip Barton battling the Chitauri and aspires to become a hero like him after he inadvertently saves her life, although Bishop's father is killed during the attack. In the present day, Barton spends time with his children in New York for Christmas. Bishop attends a charity auction gala with her mother Eleanor and learns that he is engaged to Jack, I think that's Duquesne. Underneath the gala, she stumbles onto a black market auction featuring items recovered from the remains of the Avengers compound, finding Duquesne and his uncle Armand III among the attendees. The auction is interrupted by the Tracksuit Mafia, a Russian street gang who attempts to recover a watch among the items. Bishop recovers Barton's Ronin suit and defeats the Tracksuit Mafia members while wearing it. She escapes to her apartment after rescuing a stray dog and tracks down Armand to investigate further. Bishop discovers that Armand has been murdered in his home and is cornered by the Tracksuit Mafia members after fleeing the crime scene. Barton, who saw a news report of the Ronin's return, rescues Kate from the gangsters.
And yes, it is Duquesne.
Duquesne. Okay, good. I thought I was remembering that right, but I'd never seen it spelled before, so that was a loop.
The only reason why, because historically, as this podcast has definitely confirmed, I can't pronounce diddly squat at times. The only reason why I know this is because CSI Miami is one of my favorite shows. And it's Callie Duquesne in that show. And it's spelled exactly the same. So yes, it's Duquesne.
Okay.
It's the only reason why.
So what did you think about this first episode?
Okay, so we launch into New York 2012 and it's like, okay, we know exactly where this is going. It's mainstream at this point. As soon as they mention New York 2012, we know where we're headed with the Battle of New York. That part was like, okay, we can see where she's getting it. We can see from the trailers, we know who she's going to end up being because we got this one mystery girl that we've never seen before who seems to be damn good with arrows, but it's not his daughter. So we're like, okay, who is this? That answers very quickly. It also confirms something that we talked about during one of our trailer reviews for this episode, or for this series. We're probably going to get some idea of what exactly happened between the events of Endgame and Infinity War with the whole Ronin situation. So that definitely looks like that's going to be explained, if not because of the suit, but also some of the mafia that ends up turning up, the Tracksuit Mafia, and Lord knows who else. So definitely going to be some backstory explained with this at some point. From this first episode, I say that this series hit it off pretty darn good. This was a great opener, sets it up pretty nicely. I think it's great. I really do. I don't know how you could have done a better job of opening this. I really don't.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure how this series was going to go when they announced it, because it's like, it's Hawkeye. Hawkeye he's interesting, I guess, but we don't know anything about him. So it's like, how are they going to make a series about Hawkeye interesting? Clearly, they figured out a way.
Yeah.
And Kate Bishop is at least one of the puzzle pieces to making him an interesting character. Up until this point, Hawkeye is basically just a guy that shoots arrows, and then he went a little bit cuckoo after his family got dusted from Thanos, and, that was the whole thing. So clearly we're going to be exploring that side of Hawkeye, but we also get more of like his actual personality. Like we kind of knew that he was serious, but he also had like this sarcastic, funny side to him. But this kind of just took it up a notch so that we actually see his personality. It's a series that's all about him, which, I mean, obviously it's Hawkeye, so duh, kind of makes sense. But I don't know. I really like this first episode too. I'm glad it's not all going to be focused on Clint Barton. I'm glad that they're kind of bringing somebody else into this like right away. So it wasn't just like we get Hawkeye, we're setting something up, and then she somehow comes in later. She's integral to this whole thing.
Exactly.
She is the center point of this whole series. So I don't know. I thought this was really good. I'm with you. I really liked this first episode. It was good, like really good. So what would you say out of 5 extendable swords? I don't even know what you would call that. What would you give this?
Oh, it's like a 4.25, maybe a 4.5. It's pretty good, really good.
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 4.5. It was a really good opener to this series. Anyway, okay. Episode 2, Hide and Seek. Bishop takes Barton back to her apartment, but is attacked by the tracksuit mafia. The pair is forced to evacuate, leaving the Ronin suit behind. After relocating to the apartment of Bishop's vacationing aunt, Barton sends his children back home, promising to return by Christmas Day. He escorts Bishop to her workplace and recovers the Ronin suit from a firefighter named Grills at a LARP event, live-action roleplay event, for those of you who don't know what that stands for. Later, Bishop fails to convince Eleanor of Duquesne's involvement in Armand's death. After challenging Duquesne to a fencing duel, she tries to contact Barton, not knowing that he has allowed himself to be captured by the tracksuit mafia. Tracks down Barton's location, but ends up being captured herself, and the gang informs their boss, Maya Lopez, of Barton and Bishop's captivity. This one is pretty interesting. I like the whole LARPing sequence. That was probably the best part of this whole episode, was him just like fake killing everybody and then having to go up against this dude to get his suit back. It was so ridiculous, but so good.
It was pretty funny. I was a little concerned for the guy that found the Ronin suit, because we clearly see what happened to Bishop very early on. As soon as she gets a hold of that suit and she runs into the tracksuit mafia, it's like, right. Okay, her life is genuinely in danger right now. And I'm like, oh my God, what kind of can of worms is this poor dude going to end up opening?
See, I think the thing with that is they think Kate Bishop
is Ronin.
Whereas this guy just found the suit.
Clearly just found the suit. So I think that's...
Yeah.
I think that was explained enough that we have eliminated the potential that he's somehow going to end up in mortal danger himself. And
right.
Clint clearly seems to think that there isn't any immediate danger to him in their circumstance either. So
no.
I think we're okay in
that. Nobody actually knows who Ronin is. I mean, that obviously Tracksuit Mafia thinks that Kate Bishop is Ronin, but they're wrong. So, yeah. Anyway, I am interested to see where this goes, because obviously we end with them two being captured, and then this gang's boss, I didn't even know the name when I watched the episode, Maya Lopez, is informed that they're there. So I'm interested to see what happens, because it's not a character that we've been introduced to before. We don't know what exactly she's about, so I don't know.
It was a total...
We're just gonna have to wait and see.
It was a total mystery. It's like, who is this? I have no idea who this is, so...
Nope. I thought she looked familiar, but you know who I thought she was? I thought she was the sister from Shang-Chi, because she looked similar for a little bit, but
I could see that.
No,
I could see that. Yeah, there is a small resemblance there.
Yeah.
If we've been introduced to this character somehow, some way, I don't remember or recall any of it. But it's weird how they do such a good job of having these little things that you don't know are important. Like the 10 rings are introduced in Iron Man 3, even though it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing, but
it ends up being the same thing.
How on earth were you ever going to think that was ever going to come up ever again?
Yeah.
That was made how many years ago?
And I think that was like 2011.
Yeah. And there's so many movies to pull from. God knows if we've seen this person. I don't think so. But who knows?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it, though. And I'm leaning more towards not because of the ambiguity that we've had with Hawkeye so far in the entire...
Right.
I mean, the most we've seen as far as anything goes, emotionally or anything like that, was the relationship between him and Widow.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so out of 5 extendable swords, what do you give this one?
Oh, that was such a good scene too. That whole thing, the whole black marketeering. Oh gosh, oh god, and this is such a good episode. It's not as good as the first, in my opinion. I'd say a 4. It's still really good. It's just not as good.
I think I'd give it a 4.25. I like it. I really like the LARP part. Yeah. But I'm more interested in this episode because of what it might set up in the future. So
exactly.
Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes.
That's what's hard about rating these. Like, we got 1 and 2 back to back, so we understand the significance of 1 going into 2 pretty quick. Right. Whereas 2 going into 3, it's like, okay, maybe 2 ends up being higher rated a little bit later on once we see where it goes. But
yeah. If there's any we have to revisit, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our trailer section. Quick recap for those of you who haven't heard our podcast before, or haven't listened to the trailer section before, or whatever. Basically what we do, we're going to watch a trailer, and then we're going to rate it at the end based on whether we think we would see it, whether we would wait for a rental, whether we would wait for a review, or whether we just wouldn't see it at all. So, first trailer for the evening, DC League of Super Pets.
Okay, Crypto, we'll go for a walk. I have an owner, and he's Superman.
Let me just iron that out. They should call me Iron Man. No. My dog's the best, but he's not the greatest with other animals.
What is new with you, fellow normal dog?
I bit the FedEx guy the other day.
Who was he working for? General Zod? The Legion of Doom?
FedEx.
Of course. The Federation of X's. Not to be trusted.
What is taking my owner so long?
Well. If it isn't the Justice League.
Superman?
What's going on? You're super strong.
I should be a lot more dead right now, right?
My best friend is in danger, and you have to help me.
Well, we're just a bunch of shelter pets. But they're stronger than you think.
The mighty Oink. I didn't see anything. Show on wheels.
Where the heck am I?
Indestructidog.
Great. I'm the only one who didn't get any superpower.
This looks pretty interesting. I don't know. This seems like something I would probably wait for it to come out on like Disney Plus or something like that. Wherever this, I guess this would be HBO Max, but I don't know. It looks funny. I'd probably have to say wait for a rental on it.
My concern, it always worries me when they do this a lot too. Different things have done this. Sing did this. They bring out all these big name stars. They've clearly spent money as far as the voice talent goes, because I mean, these are not cheap people to have.
No.
But then they throw it into an animated movie, and it's like, you're compensating for something. What is it? Because animation is not something that should be compensated for, in my opinion.
Well, see, I can see where you're coming from, but there's also cases against that fact, like the Lego movie. The Lego movie was fantastic, and the lead actor was Chris Pratt after Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Lego movie, so I mean, I know there's the cases that support and also refute my theory, but it worries me when I see so many big stars. It's like, okay,
yeah,
you've got this.
I can see where you're coming from, but I don't know. I've seen so many cases where it's also not the case. The only thing that I could say about this is that it seems too much like Secret Life of Pets, but with superpowers. So I don't know.
That's a fair critique. That's a fair critique. I say wait for a review.
That's fair.
I want to see how this goes.
I could definitely see that. The only reason I would say wait for a review on my part is because, I've got kids, and I know that my son would like this a lot. So anyway,
you mean wait for rental?
Yeah. Wait for rental. My bad. Anyway. Next trailer we've got is for Nightmare Alley.
I will ask you simple questions. You will answer in short sentences only what you believe to be absolute truth.
Absolute truth. I can do that.
Now, brief as you can, what is your name?
Stanton Carlisle.
Are you a true medium?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Carlisle.
Doctor, how about that?
Please lay down.
Can you read minds?
Yes, I can. Under the right circumstances.
Keep your answers brief.
What do I want?
To be found out, same as everybody else.
Are you in contact with the beyond?
Well, we've had our share of snake charmers in the past. We deal with them.
You don't fool people, Stan. They fool themselves.
I've given you a fortune. It's time that you delivered.
When does it end? I want to know.
If you displease the right people, the world closes in on you very, very fast.
This is another one of those trailers that gives me enough to say that I might be interested, but also not enough for me to figure out what the movie is actually going to be about. Because it looks cool. Mm-hmm. I like Bradley Cooper as an actor. Mm-hmm. But other than the fact that he's a medium and that there might be some people after him or something like that, I don't understand what this movie is. I don't get it. So I'd have to put this firmly in wait for review until, this is the final trailer, so I guess we're not going to get any more, but until further notice. I don't know. I don't have anything for this.
I don't know yet. It looks good. I don't know what it's about. Can't figure that out. Maybe there's more clues in the previous trailers that if we watched, maybe we'd have an idea of what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
It's not always the case, but I've seen a lot of details get dropped and then the big picture be revealed at the end. But sometimes the final trailer is the one that explains everything, and this one didn't. So it just depends. We don't know. I think I'm in the same camp. Wait for a review.
All right, next trailer is for Turning Red.
I'm Maylin Lee. I wear what I want, say what I want, 24/7, 365. I know, it's a lot. But I don't got time to mess around. Je me fromage blanc. All about that hustle, am I right? Poor town. This is gonna be the best year ever. And nothing's gonna get in my way. It's gonna be me.
Is everything okay?
I'm a gross red monster! Don't look at me! Stay back!
This happened already?
What did you say?
Our ancestors had a mystical connection with red pandas.
Are you kidding me?
This little quirk runs in our family. You're so cute!
Sick. I've always wanted a tail.
I'm a freak.
We love you, May. You're our girl. Whoa.
You're you!
Any strong emotion
will release the panda.
Abby, hit me.
Do you know how dangerous this is? You'll get whipped up into a frenzy and panda all over.
My whole life I've been perfect little May May. But maybe I like this new me.
Mama's girl.
It's gonna be me.
That was not what I was expecting when I saw the little thumbnail looking at this earlier.
No.
Huh. This looks interesting. A lot. I don't know. This has got to be the first like semi-original thing that I've seen Pixar come out with in the last couple of years. Soul was good, but I don't know. I haven't really. Let's see. We had The Incredibles 2. We had Toy Story 4. I gotta look up the Pixar movies real quick just to see where we're at.
Yeah, is Luca Pixar or was that Disney?
Luca was Pixar.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't know. I for me, since like Coco, Soul, like I said, Soul was good. I wasn't as into it as some other people were, but it was fine. I think this is like the first like super original thing that I've seen them come out with that I've actually been interested in since Coco. And that's been going on 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yeah. They have these spells. They end up I don't know what it is. They end up with the long streak of remakes or sequels.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines, because I mean we got all the way up to 4 of Toy Story. And then we have these spells of like original movies, and it's like, okay. I think it's I can't think of anything besides, and it's only because it's a panda. Kung Fu Panda is the only thing that this remotely reminds me of.
Yeah.
And it's not the same thing by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, it's pretty darn original. I can't think of anything that it makes me think of. I haven't had like a top Pixar hit since Inside Out, besides Coco.
Yeah.
Coco is pretty good too, but like Inside Out is like the highest one for me in the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks really good. I like it. I really like the part at the end, the dodgeball scene.
Oh,
like,
yes. Yes.
You deserve it.
I would probably say I would go see this in the theaters.
Yeah. I mean, we went to go see Inside Out, so.
Yeah.
If this is making me think of that, that's a really fair thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
I will obviously wait for it to drop on Disney Plus, but I'd go see this in the theaters.
Listen, we're talking about theoreticals here, okay? We're not going to talk about what we're actually going to do, because both of you and I know we're not leaving our house to go see a movie at this point.
Not unless
it's
not
really
going to
happen.
Movie.
Yeah. Anyway, final trailer of the night being the Ricardos.
This is places for scene A.
Scene A.
Action.
Lucy, I'm home.
Why is this coming out now?
Lucille Ball's a threat to the American way of life?
Does the FBI have any case against Lucy?
I need you to help me save my marriage.
How many times I gotta explain where I was and what I was doing?
You gotta explain.
You being funny right now?
I'm Lucille Ball. When I'm being funny, you'll know it. This is getting out of hand.
Madness.
Have you been cheating on me?
The story's made up.
If they boo me?
If they boo you, we're done.
Sorry, I got lost for a second.
You're my hero. I care about what works. I care about what's funny. I care about you.
Now you're scaring the shit.
I was just gonna say, good show.
Good show.
Good show.
We've been through worse than this.
We have?
No.
Before we get into the ratings, let me just say, I am so glad that J.K. Simmons has been getting a lot of movie roles, because that man is such a good actor, it's not even funny. Have you seen Whiplash?
No, I haven't.
That is, if it's hard to explain, but it's a very good movie. If you have time one day and you remember, you go search it and watch it. It's so good. He is so good in that movie. Anyway, back to this trailer. This seems pretty interesting. I don't think we've ever gotten a biopic about Lucille Ball or Ricky Ricardo. Is that his name? That's not Ricky Ricardo, is it?
Desi Arnaz.
Desi Arnaz. Okay, yeah. Anyway, yeah. See what he's Ricky Ricardo on the show.
Yes.
Okay, that's why. Obviously, because it's being the Ricardos. She's Lucy Ricardo on the show.
Yes.
Duh. Anyway.
It's okay, Ben.
Anyway. This seems pretty interesting. I don't think this is one that I would go seek out in the theaters, just because I'm not like a huge biopic fanatic or anything like that. But this seems like something, if I didn't really have anything else to watch, and I'm not saying this is like a lazy Sunday watch, because this seems like something where I would definitely have to pay attention to it to understand it and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also not something that I'd be rushing out to go see. I'd probably have to say I'd wait for a rental on this one.
That's fair. It's actually really hard to rate this one, because I'm with you on, I'm not the big like biopic person. I don't know that I'd go see it in the theaters just because of the type of movie it is, but like I would really want to see this. So I'm kind of conflicted. Probably wait for a rental. I'm 100% going to watch this though. Like no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind.
I think that's where we're going to leave this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you please leave a rating on whatever podcasting platform you happen to be listening on. If you're on YouTube, hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.